if the junk you throw away could become the most beautiful thing in your garden? In this video, we're diving deep into DIY trash-to-garden ideas, bold, unexpected, and honestly, kind of magical. From broken pots to rusted doors, nothing is wasted when creativity takes the lead. You're watching Verdant Dreams, a space where forgotten things find new life. We've added timestamps, so feel free to skip around and find exactly what inspires you. And if you've got questions or ideas, the comments are open. I'd love to hear from you. If this sparks something inside you, don't wait. Use what you have, start small, and build something beautiful. And just before we begin, let me say this. I know, to you, I might be just another voice on the internet. But behind this, there's a real family trying to build something that lasts. When you hit that subscribe button, you're not just supporting a video. You're helping keep a dream alive, one garden, one project, one moment at a time. Thanks for being here. Thanks for seeing me. In the quiet corner of a tiny front yard, where sunlight dances softly on dew-kissed petals, stands an old forgotten door, now reborn. Its wood, once faded and worn by years of weather, wears a fresh coat of sage green, brushed by loving hands. It doesn't lead to a house anymore, it leads to wonder. This humble door, rooted between clusters of chrysanthemums and anemones, arches like a portal to another world, a secret garden crafted with care. Vines wrap gently around its frame, whispering stories to the breeze. Behind it, a mosaic path invites the curious to wander between marigolds, asters, and the golden bursts of autumn joy. It's not grand. It's not new, but it sings with soul. Here, in this pocket of peace, the past and present entwine. A door once discarded becomes a gate to slow mornings, blooming colors, and dreams that grow with every petal. It's proof that even the most ordinary things, an old door, a little paint, a handful of flowers, can become extraordinary in the hands of imagination. A tiny garden, a big heart, and a doorway that welcomes all who believe in beauty reborn. Each jug once carried water. Clay shaped by hand, glazed with tradition, and filled with purpose. Now, in this small backyard garden, they carry something new, color, charm, and a touch of whimsy. Half buried along the edge of a sunlit fence, these candies stand proudly in a row, painted in hues that echo both past and present. Sky blues whisper of calm mornings. Soft pinks hum lullabies of old. Terracotta roots it all in earthy memory. This border isn't just a divider, it's an artful embrace between nature and nostalgia. Behind the painted curve, chrysanthemums sway, marigolds beam in golden joy, and low asters spill soft petals onto soil. The jugs become guardians of bloom, grounding the chaos of color in rustic rhythm. Children trace fingers across their surfaces. Gardeners tuck seedlings at their bases. And in the evening light, they glow quietly, no longer forgotten vessels, but storytellers in clay. A fence becomes a frame. A jug becomes a jewel. And the garden? It becomes alive with personality. Because in the heart of this tiny space, creativity flows as freely as water once did through every jug. In the heart of a humble garden, where space is precious and intention matters, a spiral rises. Crafted stone by stone, hand by hand, it stands not tall, but true. Each rock placed with care, balanced in quiet rhythm, echoing nature's patterns and ancient energy. This is no mere pile of stones. It's a poem in structure. A sculpture born from the earth itself. It curves like a shell, like the wind, like a slow-turning thought. Around it, mums bloom with rich fire. Asters lean in softly. Sedum holds the ground with dignity. Children call it magic. Visitors call it art. The gardener? They call it peace. The spiral becomes a meeting point. A place where the morning sun touches first, and the final glow of dusk lingers. It's where busy minds pause, feet slow, and breath deepens. Here in this tiny yard, without fountains or statues, the spiral speaks louder than decoration. It tells us that the ordinary, a rock, a garden, a quiet moment, can become something sacred when arranged with heart. This isn't just a centerpiece. It's a center of calm. A grounded twist of beauty where color, shape, and stillness meet. Once, it was the door to someone's kitchen, weathered, squeaky, always opening to stories. Now, it leans proudly in a quiet garden corner, reborn with blooms instead of footsteps. Painted in soft hues of pale blue, its wooden frame holds more than memories. Where glass once sat, now rest little pots of joy, marigolds reaching for sun, asters nodding with grace, sedum spilling gently like green lace. The old door, once a silent servant of comings and goings, becomes a storyteller of growth and beauty. It greets the wind with open slats. It welcomes bees instead of guests. And behind it, the fence feels less like a boundary and more like a backdrop to a living portrait. This vertical garden isn't just a clever reuse. It's an art piece rooted in nostalgia. A symbol that even the most ordinary relics, an unused door, a rusty hinge, can be transformed into flourishing wonders. Tiny backyards now have walls that bloom. Small patios glow with vertical life. And a single door, too tired to be a threshold, becomes the stage for 1,000 petals to open. It doesn't close anymore. Instead, it invites the world in, to grow. In a quiet corner of a small backyard, where golden petals sway and bees hum softly, a gentle stream dances through clay. Candy, old water jugs once forgotten, now tilt gracefully in a cascading embrace, pouring liquid light from one to the next. Each jug holds a story, fired by earth, shaped by hands. Now reawakened not with drinking water, but with flowing dreams. The rhythm is soothing, a soft trickle that soothes the soul like a lullaby for the land. Surrounding them, marigolds burst in brilliant oranges and sunny yellows, their scent mingling with the sound of moving water. The soil is dark and rich. The air? Crisp with the calm of autumn afternoons. No pumps, no grandeur. Just gravity, grace, and a gardener's vision. Children dip fingers into the basin. Birds sip gently. And the clay, once dry and silent, becomes alive again. This fountain isn't loud. It doesn't shout its beauty. It whispers, in drips and droplets, about renewal, about peace, about what happens when nature and nostalgia meet. In this tiny space, the world slows down. And somewhere between the marigolds and the murmuring water, a garden begins to dream. A garden doesn't just grow from soil. It grows from the hands that shape it, one stone at a time. Here, in the warm curve where patio meets petals, a mosaic blooms beneath your feet. Not painted, not drawn, but built. Stone by stone, each piece fits like a word in a quiet poem. Slate blues, sandy whites, and rust red swirl into spirals and leaf forms, frozen in time yet bursting with rhythm. Marigolds lean gently against the edge, their golden heads nodding approval. Sedum creeps in, softening the seams. Chrysanthemums whisper stories through the breeze. Together, they dance around the mosaic like ornaments around a sacred altar. This border doesn't separate, it connects. It bridges the patio's hardness with the garden's softness. It turns corners into compositions. The pattern isn't perfect, but that's its power. Each imperfection speaks of care, of hours under the sun, of dirt under nails and joy in discovery. Visitors pause here. Children trace fingers across the cool stone lines. And you? You sit with tea, watching shadows move gently across this puzzle of the earth, a memory of movement, stilled in stone. Because sometimes, beauty grows horizontally, right under our feet. There's a certain kind of magic in a path that doesn't lead anywhere fast, only forward, softly, one step at a time. In this quiet garden, rocks rise gently from the earth like invitations. They don't shout. They don't command. They hover, just enough to make you wonder if they were placed by hand or by nature's own will. Each stone is a pause. A moment of balance. A breath between blooms. Chrysanthemums brush the sides with their golden joy. Asters stretch open like little stars. Japanese anemones sway tall in greeting. Around them, grass cushions the gaps, soft and green, like a whispered welcome. This is not a walkway. It's a journey. A meander through memory, scent, and season. As you step from one stone to the next, time slows. You notice bees. You hear the garden breathe. The rocks, once forgotten, rough and ordinary, now carry feet, thoughts, and wonder. They float not above the ground, but just enough to lift the soul. Here in this cottage garden, the way forward is gentle. And every stone is a step into stillness, where beauty doesn't rush, it invites. Not all broken things need fixing. Some just need reimagining. Along this simple wooden fence, shards of clay pots find new purpose. Once shattered and cast aside, now they rise in a vertical dance, cradling succulents like secrets whispered to the wind. Their curved edges hold stories. Their textures, time. And from their fractures, life spills out in shades of green and silver. Sedum curls gracefully. Echeveria glows like rosettes kissed by the sun. Tiny vines tumble over the edges, reaching for light. Each piece, imperfect, earthy, becomes a cradle of resilience. Beneath, chrysanthemums nod in approval. Marigolds add their cheerful golden hue. And in the background, the fence no longer feels like a wall, but a living canvas. This is a celebration of what lasts. Of how beauty doesn't fade in breaking, but often begins there. The broken jugs don't hide their flaws. They flaunt them, painted, lifted, honored. Here, in the garden's quiet frame, is proof that even fragments bloom. That cracks can be filled not with glue, but with life. And that sometimes, the most beautiful gardens are not built, they are rebuilt. In a garden where stories bloom as wildly as flowers, two old doors now hold up the sky. They once guarded the entrance to a forgotten farmhouse, hinges rusted, paint chipped, wood softened by time. But now, they stand tall and proud, reborn as the frame of a pergola that shades joy and whispers beauty. From the beams above, clay jugs sway gently in the breeze. Painted with love, some hold asters that spill like fireworks, others cradle trailing vines, and a few simply dangle, empty but enchanting. Each jug sings a quiet note in the melody of the garden. Beneath, the gravel crunches softly underfoot. A bench waits for quiet conversations. Light filters through vine-covered beams, casting dancing shadows on the door panels that now wear their age like medals. This pergola is no grand structure. It's a humble stage for nature's theater, where autumn flowers bow in the breeze, where butterflies join as guests, where old wood and handmade clay meet the present with grace. In this small space, the ordinary becomes poetic. The doors no longer close, they open to light, to laughter, and to living. In the corner of a crowded world, Space was carved not for more, but for less. Here, stones sit still as silence. Gravel flows like water, combed into waves that never break. One single rock rises from the earth, not shouting beauty, but whispering balance. Around it, chrysanthemums bloom like golden thoughts. Japanese anemones bow with grace. Sedum stretches low, hugging the soil like an old friend. This is a Zen garden, tiny in size but vast in spirit. A quiet bench invites moments of pause. No noise. No clutter. Just the rhythm of wind and the hush of intention. Each stone, placed with purpose. Each plant, chosen for calm. There are no fences here, only frames. No distractions, only invitations to slow. In autumn, the flowers speak in warm tones. Not the bright buzz of summer, but the soft glow of letting go. Here, the garden doesn't try to impress. It simply is. And in that being, it breathes, softly, slowly, fully. In this corner, small enough to miss, rests a whole world. One where stone and flower meet. Where less becomes more. And where the soul finds the room to bloom.